Ladies and gentlemen, the age of Sigmar is almost upon us. Now, we took a top secret poll of everyone out there in the Warhammer Fantasy community, asking them which two people they really wanted to sink their teeth into all the rumours about the age of Sigmar, and it was pretty unanimous that they wanted me and they wanted Mr. Remington Steele. Hello there.
Hey man, how's it going?
But with Stormcast, there's none of that. I think there should be. I think if you kill the Prime, then all the other units suffer some kind of bravery loss or something like that. There's got to be an Achilles heel.
In addition to just the endless stream of charisma that just flows out of the screen.
Absolutely.
That's what we bring to the table. Other than you rolling ones a lot, that's generally what you bring to the table.
Grab some coffee and do some crying. Do some crying.
It's like, a no-brainer to me. Could have had some slaves. What about that? But Joey, do you know when he came back from that trip, the first field trip, to check out the first Total War Warhammer? You know what? He didn't tell me nothing. I thought, he's going to tell his best buddies at least something off camera. No, he said nothing. That's the type of man he is.
Well, the problem is, I know the type of man you are.
It's the Andy and Remington Steele show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steele show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that's good. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington show.
Welcome, one and all. It's time, as you can see, 200 episodes of the Andy and Rem show, and this one already promises to be, by far, the most spectacular. Isn't that right, Mr. Remington?
You bet your bottom dollar it is. Welcome, everybody. 200 shows, and we're celebrating the very latest of those, the 200th.
Certainly are. It was a long, long time ago, that first episode. Do you remember the beginnings of this show, how we first dipped our toes into these turbulent waters?
Yes, I do. I was in a very dark basement flat with an old computer, but you see, the content was so now and so wanted that it became the hippest Age of Sigmar show ever, and still is in many ways. Welcome everybody to our show. Thank you for coming.
We've got a packed house tonight for this, the 200th episode. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet. Let's have a look who we've got in there, because we have got the likes of Bado, we've got Colin, we've got Bad Squiddo Annie, of course, who was probably just here to see if she featured at all in that intro montage. We've got the Ether cast in the house. We've got Stu Gibson, of course. We've got Owen. Who else have we got in here? We've got plenty of comments from some Remington chump. We've got the Colonel in the house. We've got David. And sure, people are going to be swarming in as word gets around that the 200th episode is coming at you. So that very first episode that we saw a bit of in the intro there, Age of Sigmar was but a whisper on the wind at that point, wasn't it?
It was. I think the debate centered around, were we going to have square bases or round bases? And I predicted square.
Well, in fact, the first episode wasn't even called the Andy and Rem Show initially. It was called that after the fact. The first one, we actually called it something along the lines of Warhammer Fantasy Rumours.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's all it was. And then people flocked
So-
to us as the beacons of the new era. And then we took on that responsibility, and I think we took it on very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking back. I can see the excitement in your face, and you were smiling a lot. Yeah, people don't really see you smile that much, but I think more recently you've been smiling quite a bit, and it's reminiscent of those early days, Andy.
And of
Another thing,
course,
yeah, go on.
no, you
Sorry,
go.
another thing I thought of was that I was thinking, all these 200 shows, and also behind the scenes, and at tournaments and at games we've had, and field trips, if you like. I've never heard Andy swear.
Dun, dun,
I've
dun.
never, I've never heard him curse. There you go. Just a interesting fact there.
Well, there you go. That is quite an
He's the,
interesting fact.
he's the gentleman of wargaming.
And of course, we always keep this channel 100% PG rated as well, as people will know. Nothing inappropriate has ever been discussed on this show.
Is it not? I don't know about that. Not from your lips, it hasn't.
Well, people may have inferred some filth, perhaps, in previous episodes, particularly in the Forest of Rem, but that's all on them, I think. I don't think it was really...
Yes.
it wasn't intended from our end at all.
So, speaking of the Forest of Rem, that was just one of many sort of fantasy battle roleplay episodic adventures we went on through this journey. So we had predicting Warhammer releases, fantasy and Age of Sigmar, and we had our own game shows as well. Many over the years, haven't we?
Well, I can actually tell people now there will be an instalment of What the Hell Is That on this 200th episode.
Wow.
I'm also informed we're going to have Remington's hot tip as well.
We've had hot tips. We've had $1 million ideas. We've had crazy new inventions to spur on the hobby and to make things more streamlined and easier. It's been a one-stop shop for all the things you need.
You don't need to go to any other shows, especially not the ones that maybe came after this one, and
yeah,
tried to put a bit more of an informative spin on it.
Yes, they tried to wow people with graphics, didn't they? And fancy webcams and proper lighting and all that stuff. And
but they're not down there in the trenches getting their hands dirty with the real people. They're sitting up there with their fancy PowerPoint presentations and their numbers and their stats. But they don't have what we have. We have the common touch, don't we?
Yeah, well, I don't think we've ever been one for stats, have we? We did try it. We did try reading War Scrolls endlessly. And I think I fell asleep on one episode.
Yes, the one episode you did fall asleep on. I'll have to dig out that clip at some point for another montage.
It didn't stop you still finishing off the show, though, did it, Andy?
It did not. Now, if we cast our minds back all those years to the start of Age of Sigmar, when the game was launched, or when we first heard about the length of the rules and found out it was only going to be a few pages long, and the first couple of games that were played under those rules, how did you feel about it as a game system, coming from Warhammer Fantasy that had obviously got very complicated and bloated over the years?
It was a real shock, because we'd just come from Warhammer Fantasy: The End Times, which was exceedingly complicated, mystical but factual. So many events, so many characters that had been nurtured over decades, and suddenly it had all been destroyed. And to replace it was basically a 2-page rulebook, compared to all the many dozens of battle tomes and various rule books and additional rules. It was a real shock, and I think many war gamers, had very loud. A few war gamers maybe had the loudest voices, especially on the internet, and they were saying they didn't like it. But I guess it what they did, they planted a small seed, and you can see now it's grown into something much more complex and vivid.
Yes, of course, initially there were no points. The magic rules were very, very thin on the ground. In fact, a lot of the rules are very thin on the ground. They didn't cover many situations in the rules, and it was really, here's an outline for you to go and play a fun game with your friends, and if there's something that we don't cover, just roll the dice on it. And if you have a long mustache, you get this bonus.
Yes.
They were
Owens mentioned the Ninth Age, which was a fan-made a follow-up to Warhammer Fantasy, and there were some dearly loved Warhammer 8th edition presenters that sort of tried to carry the torch with the Ninth Age. I don't know what happened to that. I did follow it for a couple of years, but where that community's still around, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I know that people do still play the older editions. I don't know if Ninth Age is still going. And of course, lots of people flocked to Kings of War as well. Some of us jumped in there with both feet simultaneously, while also getting into Age of Sigmar.
Yes. And I think what we're looking at now is perhaps the dawn of, not the dawn, but we're well into Games Workshop sort of rediscovering its fans, reaching out to them, and developing that community, or its own community now, if you like, and that's become massive. And now relaunching Warhammer: The Old World, and it's taken 2.5 years of sort of little sneak previews and maps and where they're going to place the old world and at what time period, and slowly it's coming together. So there's perhaps something for everyone coming soon.
It's a very different company now, though, isn't it? If you think about when Age of Sigmar first came out, it was very much the Willy Wonka. You never really get to see behind the scenes. You just know that there's lumpers there slaving
Yes.
away, working on the rules, and then it's dropped on you, and then people react. Whereas now, you've got all these playtest groups that people often know who is in them now. They're not just secretive Oompa-Loompas locked away in the back of the factory anymore.
Yes, I think on a more corporate level, Games Workshop became a public limited company, and it appointed Kevin Roundtree as the CEO. And that was when 2014, perhaps 2015, and I think Games Workshop expanded and became a profit machine, from being a company that was perhaps dwindling, at least in the fantasy aspect. And now you're seeing games, you're seeing films in the making, TV things, animations. So I think if you zoom out and look at it from that perspective, you can see it's grown massively.
They've definitely adopted a new strategy in recent years, and the launch of the Age of Sigmar was a bit strange. It was a bit more reminiscent of the kind of rules they used to put out kind of on a whim. In the old White Dwarf magazines, they would have an article for a jousting game with the bare bones rules, and then the step up from that, you had games like Gorka Morka that were released and weren't really supported for very long, so weren't necessarily that deep. But Age of Sigmar has turned into something of a beast in recent years. Since first edition, it's come quite a long way, and I did see in the chat someone accused it of having a serious level of bloat, and I would say that is definitely true. It's not a game where you can just pick up the rulebook and then go and play it and have any idea what you're doing, because you'll come up against an army that has something that's in no way connected to the main rules. You would have had no idea that something like that could even exist. And then beyond that, you've got things like the incarnates, you've got all the rules for like your seasons of war and all this business.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say it's pretty tactical now, isn't it? You know,
General's handbooks every 6 months, completely shaking things up. So keeping on top of it, it's not quite a full-time job, but it takes some doing.
And synergies as well, you see, and multiple varying synergies in each army, you know, and they're constantly changing, like you say, Andy. So my question to you is, someone with a very mathematical brain, a tactical brain, like yourself. Why weren't you put off when Age of Sigmar first come out and came with this basic rule package? Why weren't you one of those that just went meh?
I think Kings of War might actually have something to do with that. Because I already had some Mantic models that I was using in my vampire that I barely got to play in the flesh at all during that game system. It exploded. And I was playing dwarves at the time. But so I was aware of Kings of War as a result of that. Then my particular itch for playing the big units of square ranked up models flanking each other, Kings of War was scratching that. So I was able to dive into Age of Sigmar without that kind of nagging away at me, whereas some people who are strictly GW maybe were feeling the pinch, the lack of the square bases, the lack of the ranks and positionings. So I think that's what did it for me. There's less for me to miss because I was getting what GW weren't giving me elsewhere at the same time. So I was able to enjoy what Age of Sigmar had to offer as well. It was a very different, more dynamic experience.
So then you also were playing things like Dead Zone, weren't you, and skirmish games?
I was playing a lot of Relics back then as well. It was a skirmishy type game on round bases. Definitely wasn't allergic to round bases back then.
So when you think back then and you look at it now, it's a complete 180, isn't it? It's have they achieved everything they wanted to? Are we at the what's it called? Are we at the peak of Age of Sigmar at the moment, do you think?
Well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? But in terms of 180, they've gone way beyond what they'd previously done in terms of competitive game. Now that you look at the content they're putting out, like Meta Watch, updating the competitive rules every 6 months, there are more frequent online updates, even that. They're really staying on top of the tournament scene and tracking it, which is something I don't really remember them ever doing before. So they're trying to make a game that is suitable for tournaments, not just a game that sells the miniatures. Obviously, that's still the number one priority, but it's now a game that's designed for tournaments.
They're also churning out new models, aren't they? A lot, all the time, compared to how relatively slow new fantasy models would come out. It seems that we're getting new editions of armies much, much quicker now.
Well, if you like foot heroes, then yes. Whichever race you play, you can guarantee you'll get a foot hero every year or two. Play Stormcast, just wait 3 years and you'll get another 50 units. Now then, before we dive in even further into the past, we have actually got a nice reel of various people who have been on this show in the past, and some from the community who have submitted video messages to be played on the show, congratulating us on reaching 200 episodes. So,
that's amazing.
I think I'm going to line that up now, and then after that we might do some What the Hell Is That? So, let me just fire this up here. Hopefully the volume won't be too crazy on.
Hello, everybody, but specifically, hello, Andy and Rem. Hey, guys, I just wanted to say congratulations on 200 episodes. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. 200 episodes in a little less than a decade. That puts you right on par for most British series. I look forward to 300, 400, 500. I'll be celebrating all of those milestones in the old folks' home, but I'll still be watching. In all seriousness, you guys are both awesome. I love you both. So excited for your anniversary, for hitting this milestone. Wish you all nothing but the best. Take it easy.
Hi fellas, just want to give you a quick congratulations on reaching 200 episodes, and if I'm guessing right, this is also your 8th year, or will be your 8th year of doing the show, on and off, give or take. That's amazing, man. I'm so glad you guys are still putting out the shows. Well done, and a big thank you for your years and years of entertainment, shall we call it that, and your in-depth tactical knowledge, among other things. Hope to see you guys again soon, some point, me up at Warhammer World for another game, because the last one was a blast. Thanks, guys. Congrats.
Hey Andy, hey Remington, congratulations on reaching 200 episodes. Here's a toast from me and everyone at Aethercast HQ, hoping you can get all the way to 500. Cheers.
What the hell is that? It's 200 episodes. I am so happy for you guys, Andy and both Rem. I am sure that we'll see some more Rem stocks and Forest of Rem, and of course, what the hell is that? Well done, you guys, and keep up the good work. I look forward to making the same post for you for your 300th episode.
What the hell is that? 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 It's Ram in a band, and has he come back? What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What the hell is that?
Andy, Rem, congratulations on 200 episodes of the Andy and Rem Show, and I look forward to many more $1 million ideas from Rem. From your pal, the Joey Berry.
Andy, Remington, congratulations on hitting 200 episodes of the Andy and Rem Show, probably the show with the best theme song on all of YouTube. I've been glad to be on the show a couple of times, and I hope to be on it again someday soon. And again, congratulations on, making it happen 200 times, talking about Age of Sigmar and other stuff. And keep going, and we'll see you hopefully soon. Specifically in person, I hope. Maybe at Adepticon sometime, or maybe I get to come over there. And I'm looking forward to seeing you folks again.
Remington has tears in his eyes after that reel. So the one person you might not recognise their face in there was Drunken Deer, by the way. Remington has tears in his eyes after that reel. What did you think then?
Yeah, that was incredible, man. That was so good. I mean, they're like some proper legends of the wargaming community, and they remember us and that, and they said nice things, man. That's so cool.
Plenty of people there that will have to get on the show again this year, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
We get rolling towards episode 300. It's going to be a treat for everybody.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was brilliant. I mean, yeah, there was some big influences there, weren't there? So nice, so sweet messages. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Vince. Thanks everyone thanks Joey Berry. Thank you. Thanks Uncle Atom, Drunken Reindeer, and of course Annie from Bad Squirrel Games. Beautiful, man.
Let's not forget the Ethercast as well. In the chat right
well,
there as well, supporting the 200th episode.
I haven't met you yet. Thanks, though. Are you going to join us on the show someday? I hope so.
Joined us on the show.
What? I can't remember. My eyes are fogged up with
tears. To be fair,
so...
I can imagine you not paying that much attention to the Caradron Overlords themed channel.
Did it involve tactics?
It may have involved one or two tactics, yes. So I think you may have zoned out for that.
What episode was that? Wow, I'm gonna have to watch that back.
I'm sure you'll pick up some pointers on how to defeat Caradron Overlords.
I've never played them. I'd like to, but having said that, I did recently purchase Thundrix Profiteers. How about that? For £10.
Yes, I got that so I could use the Ether Chemist out of it, because the actual pack of those guys was cheaper than buying one Ether Chemist on his own, which is really weird.
And do you know what else I realised, Andy? That I really like Warhammer Underworlds. And I also bought Hexbane's Hunters.
When did you discover this, that you really like Warhammer Underworlds?
I don't know, because I realised that I've got loads of them. And I thought, well, how come I've got loads of them? And I like painting these little, these little war bands. It must be like, because I really enjoy it. You get satisfaction. You don't have to paint a goddamn huge army. You've got 5 cool heroes in each box. Got Zarbag's Gits hanging over there. Yeah, I think I've got a bunch of us. There's a few I still want. Of course, you got me a nice one. You got me the latest Goblin one for Christmas, didn't you? That's pretty cool.
Maybe we'll have to play that game at some point, once you've got all the factions for it.
It would be good to play it, wouldn't it? But it's a sort of a hobbyist, as a collector. These are just brilliant, you know. And I think the other thing that made me sort of pay double attention was the fact that you know, the Goblin Wolf Rider one. The name escapes me. Where you get 3 Goblin Wolf Riders. Yeah, what are they called? They'll be in my book here. They'll be in my new Gloom Spike Gits book that I bought as well.
Wow.
Yeah. You can't get them anymore, because they brought out the other Wolf Riders, the 5-pack of Wolf Riders, which I did get, but I missed out on those. You can't get them anymore. So I looked on Ripper's Snarlfangs. That's it, Ripper's Snarlfangs. You can see that in the book there.
Yes.
Maybe just about. But I can't find them anywhere anymore. So I looked on eBay and they were going for £80. £80.
£80?
£80. I'm not joking. So I did pick up some Snarlfang Riders instead, and I've painted 3 of those babies. So I think I sent you a picture of them.
Yes, we are going to have a look at a picture of some of your painted stuff in a little bit.
Yeah.
So before we move on to anything even more exciting, shall we do a bit of What the Hell Is That?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what I'm thinking is, for this very special 200th episode, I think whoever wins this edition of What the Hell Is That, whoever guesses correctly, I think we should send them an Andy and Rem fun pack. How do you feel about that?
What's in the fun pack? Is it?
Well, we haven't decided yet.
Is it where I basically buy all the stuff, and you don't?
Well, what I was thinking was we'd basically look around our hobby areas and find stuff that we're not likely to do anything with and throw it all into a fun pack and send it off to somebody.
Someone's written Rem coin. Yes, Colonel Billington, how are you, my friend?
You could put some Rem coin in it as well.
I have a story for you before we get onto What the Hell Is That. So I went into Games Workshop last month because my local hobby store, the independent one, was bloody closed on a Thursday. I mean, how very dare they? At 3 p.m. on a Thursday,
Shocking.
they closed. So I had to go to the normal Games Workshop shop, and I bought the Gloom Spike Gits. I bought Ripper's Snarlfangs. And altogether, I think it cost me about something like £70. I was like, bloody hell, things have got expensive. But because I spent over £60 in the shop, they gave me a collector's coin. And I remember a couple of years ago, they'd given me a collector's coin, and I basically laughed at them and said, "What can I do with this?" And
Yes,
they said, they say you can collect them, can't you? And I went, well, why do people want to collect this? It looks like a toy coin.
I'm sure you had a big rant about this at the time on the show.
I did have a rant. And I thought, you know what? That's very sweet of the guy to give me this. No, I just put it in the bag. I got home and then I went on eBay. And it's like, these bloody things are going for like £15, £20, £30 for these coins.
So you rushed back out onto the street to pick it up out of the cup of the homeless person that you'd left it in. Didn't realise it was worth that much.
So I got this coin I saw on eBay. It's like people actually want these things. They're in high demand and they collect them. So there you go. But if I'd have actually kept that coin that they'd given me a couple of years ago, it would have been worth a fortune now. So there you go. Don't laugh at coins, because you never know.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there you go. So there will be an Andy and Rem fun pack. We can't tell you what's going to be in it because we don't know yet. But we'll root around in our hobby collections, find stuff that we think would go nicely in a fun pack. I'll probably sneak down to Bad Squiddo headquarters as well and steal something to put in that.
So can it be a re-gift, Andy? Because I do still have this blister pack of fishmen that you gave me from about 6 years ago.
If you're not going to do anything with them, then you can definitely put it in the fun pack. I think that's fair.
I'm looking at some cool stuff now. Oh, do I give away this? Oh, it's halfling on a dragon. Not sure. Maybe. Maybe I'm feeling very generous. Might do. Let's see.
Okay, so let's have what the hell is that? And I can tell you that it is 2 miniatures that are currently available in the Age of Sigmar range. And the first person to guess both of them, you don't have to be perfect on the spelling or anything, but as long as you get both the miniatures and put their names in within one comment, then first one to do it will be winner and we'll receive the Andy and Rem Fun Pack. Go.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it a chaos dwarf or a vampire bear? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Only Andy and Remington, Andy and Remy, Andy and Remington know. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it Sigmar's beard or Neferata's hat? Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? Is it a mangler squig or a sorcerer's rat? Only Andy and Remington, Andy and Remy, Andy and Remington know.
Okay, there you go. There is the What the Hell Is That? For the 200th episode spectacular. First person to name both those miniatures will receive the Fun Pack. So it couldn't be too easy. I think it's definitely doable. If you've only got one of them in mind, then you might want to hold on to that information until you've worked out the second one to stop giving it away.
I'm pretty sure I've painted both of those things.
Is that a fact?
It kind of looks like
I can tell you right now that you've definitely not painted one of them.
Yeah.
A clue for people would be that Remington has probably painted one of them. I have painted the other.
Maybe it's not a tongue. Maybe it's 2 legs tightly squeezed together, painted red.
I think you were probably on the right track the first time.
Aha. Colin Mack says Nurgle Lord and Lizard Tongue.
Not good enough, I'm afraid.
I think this is really.
I'm going to start getting clues at some point as well. So, Mr. Remington frequently plays the army that one of these features for, and I frequently play an army that the other one features for. Because you may think that one of them looks a bit evil or evil magic, perhaps, but I can assure you it's not. So one clue I'll give you. The bit that's not the tongue is actually part of the base decoration that comes with the miniature. Whereas the tongue is actually part of the miniature in question. And I'm going to be pretty generous with the naming of the model that comes with the tongue, by the way. No, Bad Squiddo Games is not winning the Fun Pack. It's not a bit of Empire smoke. So, let's give some more clues then. The named character that the bit of smoke is on has been painted by me within the last year. Tongue features on a miniature that I imagine Rem probably owns.
It looks like a black slug that someone's set a match to.
You know what?
Sounds like one of your miniatures.
I think we've got a winner. What has Rory said there?
Rory says Loon Boss on Cave Squig, and it looks like the tongue of the squig itself. And also, the black smoky thing is Lord Commander Bastian Cathalos.
Well, let's have a look. Tongue from a cave squig with a loon boss on it, and Bastian, the little smoke pyre.
Wow, Rory is he's some kind of wizard, man. He just pops out of nowhere with the right answer.
That's some fine work. So Rory will be in touch regarding the Andy and Rem episode 200 fun pack. Unless it turns out that's an assumed name and it was actually Annie.
Wow, Rory says it's the first one he's ever got. Rory, do you have any requests, my friend?
Well, if you've got any particular kind of thing that you might like to see in the fun pack, then that might sway us towards certain things. So yeah, very impressive.
Could be one of my famous skull dice. That always rolls ones. Well, it does for me.
We can guarantee it will be a pack and it will be fun. That's all we can say right now. If you don't have fun with it, then you're barely even living at that point, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be jam-packed with fun.
A signed guitar pick, I can certainly do that, because I've got a whole tin of them.
Don't say that. You're supposed to say it's the last one that you used on stage in front of 10,000 people.
We're just about to start a tour, so I need to get a whole lot more.
You're supposed to have a backstory with it. This is the one guitar pick you've used for the last 30 years of guitar looking, and you're going to sign it and send it to Rory for winning What the Hell Is That on the Andy and Rem Show episode 200.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I can't help looking through my drawers now because I've got loads of potential gifts.
We know how loud your drawers are on this show, so don't go rooting in there too much.
Okay.
And have a good rummage over the next few days. Now, you're a bit of a Beasts of Chaos fan, aren't you? In general, you may have got rid of your army, but you've still got a soft spot for the Ungor and the Minotaurs and Cygor and all that good stuff. And
I do. They always feel like there's something missing from them. I mean, at the minute, it feels like they need new Centaur models.
Well, you might not get that, but you know what you will get? New rules, including every single unit in your army can be placed into ambush.
What? So the first round starts and there's no enemies on the battlefield?
It would appear that way, yes.
That could be fun, couldn't it?
So in the first and second movement phases, you can just set them up anywhere on the battlefield as long as they're within 9 inches of the edge and more than 9 inches from the enemy.
That's fantastic. I mean, it'd be hard to not see the giant Cygor, wouldn't it? How does that thing even hide?
Well, they're beasts. They're probably just hiding in the woodlands, and then the cry goes up, the horn, the Ungor's horn, and suddenly everyone comes out of the forest.
Yeah, but what if you're fighting on a desert plain?
Then they're hiding in the sand dunes.
What if you're fighting on a large field with no trees in it?
Then they're hiding in a ditch.
This is impressive. It was like just when I turn away from the beasts, they suddenly make them cool again. It's just typical, isn't it? Yeah, I'm tempted. I watched on Warhammer TV. I watched the demo game of Gloomspike Gips versus the Beastmen, and the Beastmen are incredibly tough. They've got things where if you start killing Gors, they can come back at the end of the round. They're very hard to kill, even though traditionally they didn't really have any armor or anything. But yeah, they're tough, man. I'm tempted. If I had the time, you see, that's it. But
got another information nugget here. So when you're setting them all up 9 inches away from the enemy, you also get to add 1 to charge rolls when they're set up in that manner.
Nice.
So you're more likely to actually make those charges, and there may be other ways to get more distance on that as well, or set up even closer. I heard there is a way you can set up closer than 9 inches. Not actually seen the rule though. Then I don't think we're going to be getting new Centaurs, but Slangors might get some attention. I know you like those.
They are the worst, man. They look silly.
Ungor Raiders, of course, classic.
They're amazing. That picture doesn't do it justice, but they are wicked models, man. They're full of devilish details.
So, do you want this rule? Hidden volley. Once per battle at the start of your movement phase, if this unit is in reserve, you can pick a point on the battlefield edge and say that this unit will unleash a hidden volley. If you do so, this unit can shoot in that phase, but it must target the closest enemy unit to that point. So you can form this with a unit that's off the table.
That's brilliant.
Normally,
what's the range?
I assume it's only short range, but you could
That's
pick any point though. So
do you know? I think the Ungor's bows should have something about them. You know, maybe it's -1 rend or some kind of, you know, like rusty, devilishly sharp or poisoned. You know,
let's
just
not
to
get
give
carried
them
away now.
Just give them an edge.
Do you not
some
think this
respect.
is enough of an edge? I can't think of any other unit in the game that can kill you when it's not on the table.
Yeah, but aren't they on 5s to hit, 5 to wound, or something like that? So
Well, I
you
haven't
know,
seen the new stats for them, but even if they are, you're at 0 risk doing it if there's something hiding at the back.
But the thing is, aren't these rules like a month old already, Andy?
The Battle Tome is up for pre-order on Saturday. Which Saturday was that? When was this article out?
So it's not out yet.
This was the
No,
24th of January.
There you go.
So it is out now, but I haven't seen the stats, but they are out there.
Oh, that is a good stat, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds like people are going to be having a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, I did have a good Beastman army, didn't I? I had a lot of metal miniatures in there as well. Had a Jabberslav. No one plays the Jabberslav, at least they didn't back in the day.
I have seen a Jabber at a tournament. I'm not sure whether it was actually used, but it was in like the summoning pool. So it could have been summoned at some point during the game.
Right.
But it wasn't. Oh, there's something else to look at as well. Look, we've got a lizard. A lizard artillery piece.
So it's beautifully painted, that, isn't it? It's beautiful. I love the pattern.
The Seraphon are getting some attention, aren't they?
They're getting some wicked models, man, and they've got very fancy plumes, haven't they? Having seen multiple pictures of this model, for me, it's a little bit static, or perhaps if there was some variance with different poses.
Oh, there's one with a slightly more open mouth there. I think makes it proves it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice.
Very nice indeed. And new skinks. There's all kinds of new lizardy goodness out there. So that does bode well for perhaps some of the other races that think we're never going to get our model line refreshed. Maybe they're just waiting for the right time.
It's funny because Lizardmen were one of the first AOS races to get a book, weren't they?
I think it was quite early, yeah.
It was really early they had theirs. Yeah, nice, man. Nice. I've never collected Lizardmen. They're like the only armies I don't think I've dabbled in.
I've never dabbled in them either.
I don't know why. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to love dinosaur models. I knew all the names of all the dinosaurs.
Back when I was playing in, which edition would it have been? 4th, maybe? One of my little group of Warhammer people, one of them played Lizardmen. We had Lizardmen, Wood Elves, Orcs, Goblins. We might have had 2 Lizardmen players at one point. I had my Chaos Warriors and then moved on to Dwarves after that. Good old days. Now then, that. How about some stuff I've been painting? So since the last show, I've actually been quite busy because I had accrued a lot of time off work for Christmas and had to spend it all by the end of February. So I've had most of this month off work. So I've been doing a lot of painting and got some Stormcast Eternals Vanquishers done here.
Vanquishers? So these are swordsmen then, basically?
Yeah, they're kind of like Liberators, except they hit harder and their armour isn't as good.
And they're thinner as well, aren't they?
Yes, they're more sleek. The Thunderstrike sleek units.
Well, Thunderstrike sounds like they should be chunky to me, but I guess it means they're really fast and slender, I suppose. But the first Stormcast were chunky, weren't they? These guys look. That's Neve Black.
It is, but I'm just using it as the standard Knight Zephyros.
Black Talon, yeah, that's it. Yeah, see how much better Stormcast look when they've got faces.
That's why I've been putting faces on nearly all my Stormcast recently.
Yeah.
But this particular hero has taken quite a big boost with the new General's Handbook, where scoring is really important. It's really important to have those non-unique infantry heroes. And the fact that the Knight Zephyros can just teleport around the table at will. So that makes her a really handy addition. Then we've also got Garda Steel Soul, who is definitely one of the coolest poses in the Stormcast army.
Oh, he's like just landed, hasn't he? Like Superman.
Yep, and his thing that he does is he gives nearby units a 5+ ward save.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, so he's very good. Then we've got Fulminators. Now, you'll know that for a long time I've had concussors. However, I've been waiting since the first few months of Age of Sigmar for concussors to actually be good. And it's been too long, so I decided, you know what, it's only like £32, £34 or something. I'm just going to buy some Fulminators. And then I bet as soon as I do, concussors will become amazing in a few months now. But Fulminators with human faces, not helmets, as you can see there. You'd have to chop the faces a little bit at the bottom so they would actually fit, because these are from a different kit, because you don't get exposed heads in the Kothian Guard kit. So we've got 2 faces, and I've also magnetized the arms, so I can also them as Tempesters with the crossbows.
Okay.
So very exciting.
How do they fare in close combat then? Do they just bash you with shields? Or?
The Tempesters, they're alright actually. They're just decent at shooting and decent in close combat, unlike the Fulminators who just annihilate anything when they charge.
Right. Wow, you've got a big array of Stormcast now, haven't you?
Well, it doesn't end there, because then we've got 5 more Vanquishers.
I do like the Vanquisher models, don't they? They look so elegant, don't they?
Sort
of Grecian, Spartan almost. That banner's wicked. Is that hand painted?
Well, it is actually sculpted on that way.
That looks amazing.
So you just got to paint the details. It's not freehand or anything.
Yeah. That looks good. I noticed how you're not going close up on any of these models like you do when you show my...
Well, it's funny you should
models.
say that. How about that? There's a close-up for you. Someone suggested that this guy's particular grooming makes him look a bit like Remington, Discord server.
He's got white eyebrows. Maybe they've been shaved off.
Maybe he's just going like some people out there.
Yeah, like all of us.
Then I've made bases so I can use these Shadow Hulks as Sons of Beermat.
Oh my god, look at that, it's disgusting.
So we've got the signs from Bad Squiddo, and I've magnetized the sign on the post so that I can change which giant it's being used as. So this one would be for the Kraken Eater.
Ah, that's clever.
And I've done 4 of these big round bases. That would be if it's being used as King Brod. Then we've got the War Stomper, and then the same giant again, but if I wanted to use that one as a Gatebreaker. I've made a few of each of these signs, so whatever I want to run, I can do that. And I'm also working on the mini Gargants at the moment. We've got this one, and this one, which is currently on a square base because it's also going to feature as something in War Army, but I've magnetized it to its base, so I can then put it on a mini Gargant.
So what would you like about the Sons of Behemoth army then, Andy? Because you've fought a few, haven't you? So
low model count.
Yeah.
All the rules are quite fun, and I've already got most of the models done for another army. That's what I like about them.
Nice.
Minimal painting commitment.
Yes.
Only got to get these 2 small ones done, and then I've actually got in this bag down here. I've got what the next Mega Gargant is going to be, which is big, hideous, giant. Need to do something with it. This is from Fenris Games.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it's quite nurgly looking, so I need to do something to it to put my own stamp on it. I might put eyeballs on it or something.
I haven't painted a big model for well, I suppose I painted the mangler squigs, but I do enjoy painting massive, but big models, you know.
Stu says, trust me to build a Horde army right when Andy paints up Horde killing swordsmen. Yes, the Vanquishers do get bonus attacks when they're fighting units with lots of models in. That's their thing that they do. They do die pretty quick, though, compared to Liberators.
Sounds like it sounds like you should try and shoot them.
Maybe. Then I've painted some for the Walking Dead miniatures game here. Been playing with Annie. Got some survivors on the left there. Got Abraham, Tyrese, and Smitty. I've no idea who that is, so it's probably someone who's only in the comics, which I've never read. I've only seen the TV series. Don't know if he's in that. Of zombies there. Then Dead Zone Plague Teraton. New Plague Teraton model. One of those done, so I now have 3. They are considered kind of the ultimate Dead Zone filth at the moment. One of the things that are considered filth.
He looks very cuddly.
He does.
If you like to be crushed and burnt at the same time.
Then we've got a couple of Bad Squiddo miniatures here. We've got Raging Annie and Danuta, who is a famous photo.
Which one's which?
Well, I think you can tell this one's Raging Annie here. In the pink tutu. This one here is based on a famous photo of an old lady kind of walloping a Nazi with her handbag. If you've ever seen it.
Is there a follow-up photo to see what happened to her?
I don't know. But Bad Squiddo. And I've made stat cards so they can be used in The Walking Dead. I think that would be fun. And I've also made stat cards for guinea pigs, but I haven't painted those yet.
I think Annie's model should have a little guinea pig on the base.
Well, she doesn't need it because there's going to be 2 separate guinea pigs that have their own stats.
Very nice.
And we've got some Remington stuff now.
Oh, this is what we've all been waiting for. Now, guess what? This is a conversion for. What do you think? I saw the model. I thought, why should I buy that when I can just make one myself?
Well, it's an attack squig.
Is it? I'm just waiting for the comments. What do you think that is then?
What do we think that Remington is running this as?
It's a crafty conversion. It's not rocket science, really. I'm surprised no one else has done it yet. There's another photo of it if you're still not sure.
Let's have a look. There we go.
What's that then?
I'm gonna have a guess.
Go on.
I think it's one of the new knights.
No, he's not riding it, is he?
Yeah, but standing above it, like he might be about to jump onto its back.
He has to stand high because he has to command lots of potential squigs, so he's got to be able to see them all.
Go on then, what is it?
No one's interested. It's a squig boss with a Nasher squig. See, the squig boss model that's just recently come out. If I can just try and hold it still enough to show you. Wait for my finger to come up there. It's a bit. Go down. Go down. Yeah, that one. It's a bit naff, I think. So I made my own.
What are the pieces you've used?
So I've used a prodder from a squig herd. I've used a tree model, and I've just used a squig on his own, and I got some Yoo-hoo glue to make it look like they're sort of connected.
Well, they're connected like the squig's saliva has got stuck to the prodder.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that's a nice counts as model?
I don't see why not. It's good to me.
Yeah, look, and it survived the Andy close-up test as well.
Let's go on to the next one then, which is this is a good portion of your gits here, isn't it?
Yeah, I've actually got 3. If you call that a plate, or no, call that a shelf.
Because it is a shelf, yes. Let's call it that.
I've got oh my god, I've got 3 shelves of Gloomspite kits. Probably 4 actually. 4 potential shelves full of kits.
Got some wolves.
So, yeah, so I'm just painting these. These are the new wolves. Nice.
They do look good, actually.
Yeah, they're nice models. When you first see them, you think there's probably too much detail, but it's not. Once you separate it with the paint, it's not too bad at all.
Then we've got your Wrangler Squigs. These both are the new ones.
Yes, so I've got one of the old ones, and yeah, I painted one a little while back, and I thought I better paint the second one because it's got the squig boss on it.
You can run 3 Wrangler Squigs now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, that'd be a fun list at the very least.
Yeah.
Another angle. Is this the new one at the front here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've had the Yoo-hoo glue out there as well, haven't you? Look at
Yeah.
that.
Go on then, you're getting close.
That stringy saliva.
Ugh.
Can you tell me my tentacle miniatures are disgusting and you're there adding saliva to everything?
It works, though, doesn't it? Do you know who gave me the idea? It was Mickey Genver. I don't think she's here tonight, but she gave me the idea for that.
How can Mickey Genver not be here for 200 episode? I'd consider
know.
that a treat.
It's probably because you just announced it 2 hours before we actually did it.
Well, to be fair. And this is from the Discord server, and I think this was Drunken Deer that did this, actually.
Mm.
So this is, just double
Nice.
check what it's for. There was
Looks
some
like-
more info on it.
It looks like a Marauder miniature from back in the day, doesn't it? The way he's dressed. Renaissance style.
This is... It was Drunken Deer. It's the Mordheim Orc Leader.
Nice.
For Mordheim purposes. You ever dabbled in Mordheim?
On the video game, yeah. Yeah. I spent many hours on that, enjoyed it.
But not the tabletop version.
No.
It's been a wild ride to 200 episodes. I think you'll agree.
It's been absolutely incredible. I've missed it, Andy. And I actually got away with not having to play guitar, which is fantastic.
Well, the show's not over yet, so...
It was going to end soon because I'm really tired.
It is going to end soon. I've got to be up tomorrow for a tournament. So it's big Age of Sigmar tournament tomorrow at Warhammer World. Taking my Stormcast there. Including the Wood Chipper formation.
That's fantastic.
If anyone's not familiar with what the Wood Chipper formation is, then it's you take a hero with the Quicksilver draft so that he strikes first, and you give him a sworn bodyguard of Retributors, so that when he strikes first, because the sworn bodyguard rules say that they can fight straight after him, if they get charged by something, they all get to fight before the enemy does. That's why it's called the Wood Chipper, because you're just pushing yourself into the Wood Chipper, and you get wood chipped. See if that claims any victims this weekend. 5 games I've got to play. I'll be doing a report on that either Sunday evening or Monday evening, I imagine. And 200 episodes. How many games of Age of Sigmar do you think you've played, Mr. Remington?
Dozens.
When you say dozens, you're thinking closer to 1 dozen than 2 dozen.
They've all been very significant, I think, and lessons learned from everyone.
Relevant Prime says, Wood Chipper with protectors would be an ironclad cheese grinder. Yeah, the protectors make it more of a survivable machine than a Wood Chipper. I'm not sure what name you would give to that machine.
And I've just noticed, probably mentioned it before, but if you didn't know, isn't it interesting how many more trophies Andy has acquired?
Well,
He's
yes, you
becoming
can
a
see quite a
champion.
lot of them, can't you? It's not just trophies up there. There are also like random projects. Like you can see some ether wings up there, and a few painted miniatures, and a few other accessories. But plenty of trophies. There are more trophies actually over there that you can't see. So
That's fantastic.
I need to reorganise it a bit actually because I've run out of space on the Kings of War shelf. So it's spilt over into other shelves. There's the Kings of War Masters Best Army Award sitting there on its own at the moment. I need to reorganise, really.
Wow. That's fantastic.
I haven't got any Age of Sigmar trophies yet, though.
No, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to.
Well,
You
it's
have to do
tough
spam
competition.
lists.
It's
You
tough
have to do
competition. The
You've got
big
to spam stuff, haven't you?
the big tournaments, you really have to win 5 games if you're going to win those. The smaller tournaments that I've been going to usually have a few, like a handful of top players at each one. So it's really difficult to crack there.
Yeah.
We shall see. Colin says, new Dungeon Saga Origins. Yes, I saw that from Mantic, new Dungeon Saga content. Did you say something, Colin, earlier about new Night Stalkers? Because I haven't seen anything about that. I'll have to have a look, though, because obviously that would be of interest to me. So, anyone who's watching this after the fact, not live, don't forget to get your comments in. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description, including the Discord server, where all the action is. You can put your own painted miniatures if you want us to pour over them. Critique your paintwork occasionally. And Twitter as well, follow me on there, join the Facebook group, also in the description. And of course, if you want to keep this beacon afloat in these turbulent waters that we call the hobby, then why not pledge all your life savings via Patreon so that content keeps flowing. Not only this show, with the more light-hearted approach and the pure entertainment, we've also got the red-hot tactical insight of all the tournament reports. We've been fast, furious the last few weeks. Non-stop tournaments. Okay, let's bring up the episode 200 thumbnail. And Mr. Remington, are you going to give us a little musical number to end episode 200? I think it would only be right.
Go
on.
I don't know what to sing. The only song in my head that I've got at the minute is Celebrate good time, come on, boo doo doo doo. It's the Andy and Rem show, come on.
I suppose that'll have to do then.
That's like a Eurovision Song Contest effort, wasn't it?
Okay, well, thanks to everyone who's watched any episode of this show during the past 7 or 8 years, however long it's been now. Thanks to everyone who's in the chat tonight. Thanks to everyone that's appeared on this show, many of whom we hope to have on again at some point. And don't forget to like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. And give me all your money. And we will be back soon for episode 201, where because of the wild popularity of the montage on this show, then I may actually put together some classic Andy and Rem clips each week as well. So you can relive those classic moments without having to watch the entire episode.
Yes,
that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That's awesome.
Okay. Leave then. Mr. Remington, would you like to say good night to the audience?
Good night to the audience.
And with that, all that remains to be said is good night out there, whatever you are. That was the 200th
It's the
episode.
Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy